Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about how a simple mistake, or maybe a deliberate act of breaking trust, can spiral into a full-blown embezzlement charge. You know, it's a journey that often kicks off in total silence, but can end with consequences that change your life forever. So let's break down exactly how it happens.
This quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? Embezzlement isn't some loud, in-your-face crime like a smash and grab. It's a quiet thing, a slow burn. It's all about that violation of trust, something that can go totally unnoticed for a long, long time.
And here we go. This is the legal heart of it. The absolute keyword you need to focus on is entrusted. See, we're not talking about a stranger kicking down the door. This is about someone who was given the keys, so to speak, and then got accused of betraying that very trust.
So really, you can think of it like a three-part recipe. First, you've got trust. Second, you've got legitimate access because of that trust. And third, that access gets misused. You have to have all three of those ingredients for an embezzlement charge to even be possible.
And listen, this is not just some crime for big-shot executives in a boardroom. We're talking about anyone in a position of trust. It could be a volunteer at your local charity, a bookkeeper, even the cashier at your corner store. The potential for this charge is, well, pretty much everywhere.
So how does a quiet suspicion, just a weird feeling that something's off, turn into a massive criminal investigation? Well, what's really interesting is that it almost never starts with the police knocking on your door.
It almost always starts from the inside. An employer spots something strange, they start their own investigation, and only then do they call the police. Now think about what that means. By the time an arrest warrant is even a possibility, a case is already being built against you, quietly, in the background.
Okay, before we even get to the arrest, there's this huge fork in the road. The exact same act can lead to two wildly different futures, and it really all comes down to just one thing.
Yep, it almost always boils down to a specific dollar amount. In a place like California, any guesses what that magic number is?
$950. That's it. That's the number. Being on one side of that line versus the other can completely change the entire trajectory of your life.
And just look at this contrast. It's incredible. We're talking about the difference between a maximum of 6 months in county jail for a misdemeanor versus up to 3 years for a felony. And that's not even mentioning the formal probation, the massive restitution payments, and a criminal record that can follow you around forever, all because of that $950 wine.
So once that arrest warrant is served, things can start moving with, frankly, terrifying speed. It often catches the accused completely and totally off guard.
This right here is such a critical point. Because the investigation happens in secret, the arrest can feel like a total ambush. For a lot of people, that's the very first moment they realize just how deep the trouble they're in actually is.
After an arrest, you get thrown into this chaotic but very structured process. You've got booking, then the frantic scramble to set and post bail, and then the arraignment, your very first day in court. How you handle these first few hours is absolutely critical.
So, with the stakes being this high and everything moving so fast, what on earth should you do if you're accused? Well, there's a pretty clear game plan you need to follow. The immediate strategy is all about protecting yourself, and that means rule number 1, don't talk to anyone about the case without a lawyer. Not investigators, not friends, and definitely not on social media. Then you start gathering every single piece of paper that could possibly help your case. And posting bail, that's not just about getting out of a cell. It's about buying yourself the time you desperately need to build a real defense.
This is a massive, massive point that trips up so many people. You could have had every single intention of paying the money back. But in the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter. The crime was committed the second you took it without permission.
And this brings us right to our final kind of unsettling question. The law is clear. Intending to pay it back doesn't get you off the hook. But it really highlights the core of every single embezzlement case, trying to prove what was actually in someone's mind at one specific moment in time. And that, right there, is a razor's edge that can define the rest of a person's life.